Postulate if Albert Einstein Galilean invariance or Galilean relativity states that the laws of motion are the same in all inertial frames of reference. Galileo Galilei first described this principle in 1632 in his dialogue concerning the two chief world systems, using the example of a ship traveling at constant velocity without rocking on a smooth sea. Any observer below the deck would be unable to tell whether the ship was moving or stationary.
Speed, velocity, gravity, free fall sound familiar? Myth bust. Galileo didn't just discover these ideas, he rewired how I think about motion. He asked sharper questions than anyone before him. No, he probably didn't drop balls off the leaning tower. He timed rolling balls on inclined planes to slow gravity down. He found patterns. He separated speed from velocity, magnitude, direction, projectile motion, constant horizontal motion, plus accelerating vertical motion, parabolas. He sharpened the principle of relativity. Laws of physics look the same in any smoothly moving inertial frame. Below deck on a steady ship, experiments behave the same as on land. He explored inertia, the idea that objects keep doing what they're doing unless pushed. He measured pendulums, noticing near isochronism. He built thermoscopes, protothermometers, hydrostatic balance, military compass, real-world problem solving. With an improved telescope, he aimed up. Moon craters, phases of Venus, sunspots, Milky Way, star fields, 4 moons of Jupiter, Saturn's blurry ears, not crisp rings, a shock to the old cosmos. Myth bust. The church just hated science? It's messier. Galileo had allies among churchmen and Jesuits early on. The clash, his dialogue seemed to mock Pope Urban VIII, and he treated heliocentrism as settled before the church accepted it. He was tried, found suspect of heresy, forced to recant, and put under house arrest. He kept going, wrote 2 new sciences, laying foundations for kinematics and the strength of materials. Now Einstein, people say he reaffirmed Newton's universal speed limit. That's backwards. Newton had no universal speed limit. Speeds just add. Einstein set a limit. The speed of light, c, is the same for all observers, and nothing with mass can reach or exceed c. He kept Galileo's relativity principle, physics same in inertial frame, but replaced absolute time and space with space-time, where time dilates and lengths contract, all to keep c constant. That's special relativity. Gravity, Einstein reimagined free fall as motion along curved space-time. You feel weight because the floor prevents your natural free fall path. Astronauts in orbit are always falling around Earth. Big picture. Galileo taught me to measure motion, trust patterns. Einstein pushed Galileo's relativity to the speed of light and then to gravity itself. From pendulums to GPS satellites correcting for relativity, one continuous story. Question, measure, revise. That's how physics moves. And yes, now it should sound very familiar. What if I told you one person moved a 20-ton block of solid stone with a single finger, not a machine, not 100 slaves, one finger? That moment actually happened, and it happened right here at the foot of the Great Pyramid of Giza. For thousands of years, we've looked at these structures and asked the same question: how? How did people with no cranes, no diesel engines, no modern tools move millions of limestone blocks, some weighing over 20 tons, and stack them with a precision that modern engineers still can't fully replicate? The answer they gave us in school: ramps, sledges, thousands of workers. The blocks that built the pyramids weren't just cut, they were machined. Razor flat edges, surfaces so perfectly smooth they were measured to within 1/10,000th of an inch. That's thinner than a human hair. Why would primitive builders need that level of precision unless the precision itself was the technology? Here's the science. When you take a solid object, a massive stone block, and you machine its edges to that microscopic tolerance, and then you slide it into a sealed cylinder made of the same impossible precision, something extraordinary happens. And inside that sealed environment, when you manipulate the internal pressure, the acoustic resonance, you can achieve something that sounds impossible. Localized zero gravity. The block doesn't get lighter, it becomes weightless. Inside that cylinder, a 20-ton slab of limestone floats. The engineers of that era, the ones history called demigods, they built corridors of these cylinders, each one hundreds of feet long, polished to that same 10,000th of an inch. They would feed a block into the first cylinder, achieve zero gravity, and the block would glide silently through the tube. When it reached the end, a second team would click the next cylinder into perfect alignment, and the block would transition seamlessly, continuing its journey across the desert floor. And then came the moment. One technician standing at the mouth of the cylinder, 20 tons of solid limestone suspended in localized zero gravity inside the tube. He reached out and pushed it with the tip of one finger, and it moved. That's not mythology, that's physics. That's what precision engineering at the 10,000th of an inch can do to the laws of gravity. Now the capstan, the final block, the one they called the all-seeing eye, when that capstan was lowered into place and it touched all four slopes simultaneously, the pyramid became one complete circuit. The eye wasn't watching mankind, it was completing the structure, locking in the resonance, sealing the equation, and then the cylinders were dismantled, taken apart, leaving nothing behind but the stone and a world full of questions. The gods weren't gods, they were engineers, and the miracle wasn't divine. It was a polished edge measured to perfection, and the mastery of gravity itself. The eye doesn't look back at you, it resonates